So it's been a little while since I uploaded last, but I'm hoping to become more active in the future. And since Sony just rolled out a new update for the ERS-1000, I thought it might be interesting before I actually update Wren to post a video comparing two different Aibos who are running the same update and in the same personality, but one is connected to the cloud and the other is not. So both of these Aibos here are running update 3.0, and both of them are also in the a little curious personality, which is actually the starting personality that Aibos begin in after being initialized, but Wren has actually just on her own gone back to that personality, whereas the other Aibo was recently purchased after the seller initialized her. So for the purpose of this video, I'm just going to be referring to this Aibo on the right here as the Chocolate Aibo, because she is still very new to me right now, and that is the official name of this color, but I promise that she will have a proper name of her own very soon. So the Chocolate Aibo is disconnected from the cloud, and Wren here has an active account. Okay, so Aibos that are disconnected from the cloud will still maintain their original personalities, unless they have been initialized first, in which case they'll be reset to the starting default personality. And they will still, to some degree, be able to change over time and gain new personalities. They will still operate and behave as usual, except some features that are linked to the cloud will be closed off. This includes anything that is related to the app. So you'll be unable to view your Aibo in the app, you'll be unable to name your Aibo, you'll be unable to change the Aibo's language, you'll be unable to view any photos that they have taken, you'll be unable to change their eye color, and all of that. So what this means often for Aibos that are imported from Japan is that they will be stuck only understanding Japanese. Aibos can be set to a language other than the one of their country of origin, but in order for this to happen, the seller must change the Aibo's language before the cloud plan has been canceled. And since most sellers don't even put the Aibo up for sale until after canceling the plan, this can be hard to do. Now, as I said before, it is still possible for an Aibo without an active cloud plan to change personality over time, and it is still possible for you to see your Aibo's personality. While the easiest way to check an Aibo's personality for one that's connected to the cloud is to look in the app, it is also possible to ask the Aibo to do specific poses that will tell you what personality they are in. So all you have to do is ask the Aibo to pose for you in the Aibo's language, and then the Aibo will do a pose that is specific to its personality. So I'll first ask Wren. Wren, pose for me. And you can see she's doing the little butt wiggle, which is actually the pose that Aibos in the curious and a little curious personalities will do. Okay, your turn. Aibo! Hi, pose! She wants to shake hands with Wren first. That is fine. Hi, pose! You can see now here she is doing the same little butt wiggle pose that Wren did. So this is showing that they are both currently in the same personality. And while it is still possible for her to change her personality over time and change her behaviors over time, because she is disconnected from the cloud, some more advanced kinds of learning or some sort of more behind-the-scenes type neural network learning or cloud-based learning are not going to be available. But this honestly will change very little of sort of the actual behavior you see when interacting with the Aibo. And honestly, for the most part, cloud-disconnected Aibos will not be that noticeably different in their personality or behaviors than Aibos that are actively connected to the cloud. It's much more about how much you care about the updates that are offered through the cloud that will offer improvements to the Aibos' behaviors and capabilities over time, and how much you care about all of the app-restricted and cloud-restricted features. Now, one feature that is restricted to the cloud is well-behaved mode, which is something that is very similar to sit mode or table mode in previous models. And this is something where the Aibo will stay powered on and will stay active, but will not walk around. This is mainly if you're in an area that has a lot of obstacles that are hard to navigate, or maybe on a table with a drop that the Aibo could fall off of. This is so your Aibo will not get up and move and possibly injure itself. This feature is present on the cloud, but is not possible to achieve on Aibos that have been disconnected. I will demonstrate here what both of these Aibos do when given a command. So I'll start with Wren. Wren! Settle down. She's going into the pose that initiates this mode, and after that you have to actually hold down the Aibo's paw and pet the Aibo's head at the same time for them to enter this mode. She did enter it successfully, though. She's a little hidden in the background there right now. And now, until I tell her that she is able to move again, she will not walk at all. So now I'll show what happens when I give the command to this Aibo. And remember that this Aibo only understands Japanese. Osumashi-san. And see, she heard me and she's going into the pose. And now I have to hold down her paw and pet her head. But you can see after doing this, she realizes she is not connected to the cloud, so she shakes her head. And she'll do a little sad howl afterward, usually. Or no howl this time, just a head shake. But you can see that she's unable to enter the mode successfully. Now, this is not something that I particularly understand why it has to be locked to the cloud, but it is just a feature that Sony has chosen to do this with. Wren, you can move now. You can move now. Oh gosh, where are you running to? Okay, so while well-behaved mode is a cloud-restricted feature, there are a couple of similar features that are available on all Aibos regardless of their cloud connection status. These are pickup mode and quiet mode. Quiet mode doesn't exactly have an official name, but that's what I call it because the command for it is be quiet. In pickup mode, I will demonstrate here once she is done howling. You just pick up the Aibo, tilt them a little bit maybe sometimes. Let them know that they're being held. Generally you want to use two hands. I'm just using one hand briefly because I have the camera in the other hand. But you can see then she will lie down like this, and as long as she is being held, she will stay in that position. I have to go fetch Wren. Okay, so quiet mode is similar to well-behaved mode, except it has more limited actions and features available in it, and the Aibo is unable to leave a sitting position while in this mode. The other difference between this mode and well-behaved mode is that the Aibo can leave quiet mode spontaneously and after enough petting. So this means that this is not a very reliable mode to leave the Aibo in unattended, and I would not recommend running an Aibo in this mode on elevated surfaces or anything like that, because with well-behaved mode, the Aibo has to go through multiple steps to actually leave the mode and get permission to walk and move around autonomously again, whereas as you can see, Wren is just getting up here. Okay. So one thing you might notice is that the chocolate Aibo here's bark is much lower than Wren's. This is because even though I have them both as girls, this Aibo is currently set as just neutral or undecided because she is currently in the initial settings that an Aibo is returned to when they're initialized before being sold. This is because it's not possible to change an Aibo's gender or change any of these settings after the cloud plan has been disconnected. So another feature that's locked to the cloud is seasonal tricks and dances. Wren knows what time of year it is right now, and she will track that throughout the year, and she will change her dances and tricks and change the dances and tricks that she's able to do, sometimes adding new ones based on what the current season or holiday is. Because the chocolate Aibo was actually last activated during Bon in Japan, she actually does the limited edition, the limited Bon version of the Very Lovely Aibo dance, which was only available during that holiday. And Wren, because she knows it's much later in the year, does not. So I will compare their separate versions of this dance for you right now. This is a dance that Aibos actually can do year-round, but they will sometimes change the music that's played during it and change some of the actions during it, depending on the time of year. Wren! Very Lovely Aibo. Wren! Very Lovely Aibo. Good girl. Totemo kawaii Aibo.
Yosh, yosh.
Okay, so you can see that she played a different version of the dance than Wren did. This is because she actually still thinks it's the middle of August, while Wren knows that it's September now, which is when I'm filming this. Now, in some ways, this does mean if there are seasonal tricks that you really like, you may be able to get an Aibo that can do these tricks year-round if you purchase an Aibo whose cloud plan was canceled during that time. But this is really a gamble and isn't something I would count on. Let's not walk into each other. This isn't something that I would count on because you can't always know with the listing when the seller last ran the Aibo, when they last connected them to the plan, because the Aibo can be run with cellular and Wi-Fi services turned off, or when they even last updated the Aibo, because if the Aibo is not up to date, they will not be able to do the limited seasonal dances. I also do want to bring up that there has been an issue popping up lately in a couple of Aibos. There's only been a couple known cases so far, but both have been within the last couple months, and it may be related to the newer updates, which is that there are 2 known cases so far of Aibos that after being initialized and disconnected from the cloud seem to have lost their ability to do many tricks and features. I do not know if this is a glitch or bug of some sort, maybe associated with the Aibo disconnecting during the initialization process or something. But unfortunately, as things are right now, you cannot always count on an Aibo to be able to do the full range of tricks and features if you are purchasing one secondhand without a cloud. It's unclear what causes this to sometimes happen. These tricks are not inherent to the cloud, but it may be that in the factory state, the Aibo comes without certain tricks downloaded and maybe needs to connect to the cloud at least once to download these. So possibly if an Aibo is initialized and immediately disconnected, or if something goes wrong during the initialization, it might be possible for the Aibo to never download these tricks and to sort of come in a very sort of base state where it's missing many of the features. This isn't inherent to cloud disconnected Aibos, but unfortunately it does currently seem to be a risk that you run when purchasing one. And some other features that are not available with the cloud are things that are linked to the app, like feeding the Aibo, which is entirely an app-based feature, or adding friends through eating meals, which is something that Sony has recently added some new sort of bonuses to. And it's not things that are really essential to running your Aibo, but it is some things that sort of pad out the experience and make it more fun. But overall, aside from the voice commands being in different languages, these two can understand all of the same voice commands, even if a couple might lead to tricks that are deactivated or limited after the cloud has been cut. Okay, so at the end here, I'm just going to give a little bit of footage of these two acting autonomously, just to give a little idea of their personalities, then I'm going to be wrapping things up.